After spending well over 5 months here in Croatia, and that would be both here in the capital and along the coast, I've got a pretty good idea of some of the things that are wrong with the place. Now, there is something wrong with every place. There are only trade-offs. And so if you're considering traveling here for an extended period of time or potentially even moving here long term, these are some important things you might want to consider. And so the first thing that might stop you in your tracks is the cash culture. Now, it's not as intense as in Albania, let's say, but it is still here. Happened to me multiple times that I would go to a cafe, especially some niche cafe, and they don't take cards. So then you have to withdraw, get cash. It's annoying. So keep sufficient cash for situations like that. It's euros here anyways, so that makes things a bit easier. At the same time though, that brings me to number two. If you're coming here for the first time, you don't have a Croatian bank account, you'll be relying on Revolut and Wise for the first few weeks, maybe even months, and you cannot deposit money on any of those from here. So you need to keep a good balance of having cash for everything that requires cash, and at the same time keeping sufficient card balance for any outgoing payments or anything else really. And now we're getting to the two issues that are my biggest doom while here. First one of them is public transport. Now listen, it's not terrible, but it's definitely not great either. Buses, trams, they will all be very late at times. Sometimes they won't even come. They will break down, which is rare, but it happens, and you're just really not gonna have a good time relying on them fully to be in places on time. So again, there are gonna be delays, 5, 10, even 15 minutes sometimes, even multiple trams in a row, sometimes one completely skips, etc. So the public transport is not super reliable here. But the upside of that is they have a great app for the tickets, which makes things convenient, and it's a bit of a counterweight to the negative, but still really unreliable public transport. And in terms of traffic for cars, it's not nearly as bad as Prague, let's say, which is pretty decent. But sometimes it happens that there is an unusual event and they block off certain streets, which obviously funnels the cars into a specific place, and then it's not pretty. But that's pretty much everywhere in the world. And the second bane of my existence here are the silent Sundays, which it pretty much means on Sundays stuff closes down, especially here in the capital, but also on the coast during the off-season and shoulder seasons. So Sundays, you need to accept closed stores, closed groceries, supermarkets, closed restaurants and cafes, etc. Again, when the season picks up, especially in tourist destinations, it becomes less of a problem. But I can't tell you how many times I've woke up on a Sunday and we needed something, and you can't buy it anywhere. Everything is closed on a Sunday, so then you need to wait until Monday, and it's just a bit inconvenient. Plus, it's very difficult to determine if and when something is open, because you can't find it on Google Maps. Some stores do leave these posters in front of their entrances where they list out the Sundays of the month and say, hey, we're open on this one, we're closed on this one, but still super inconvenient. Now, for some practical bureaucracy information. Number one, make it your first priority when you come here to get your OIB number. It's your Croatian tax identification number. Without it, you can't get a SIM card, you can't get your bank account sorted, you can do very little without your OIB, so get it covered as soon as you come. It's gonna take a little while, but it's necessary. Secondly, a lot of documents here need to be notarized, which is a big difference, I would say, especially compared to, for example, Prague, where I've rented a lot of times, and every time I come, the owner comes, we sign a contract, done deal. Here, a lot of stuff needs to be notarized. So you need to go to the notary's office, sign it there, they need to validate it, etc. I'm pretty sure without a notarized rental contract, you also can't get your temporary residency sorted. So it's important you do that. But it's usually not that much of a hassle. You just come there, get it done, and you're done, good to go. So then, in terms of food and groceries, you've got two options. You can either do the supermarkets that are in a lot of places and have everything you might need and are convenient, and you're probably quite used to them, down to maybe a few details. But just like in many other Balkan countries, you've got the piazza. which is a market that happens in a specific location around the city or the town, where locals bring fresh produce to sell. And here you'll find the best quality for the best price. Anything from fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, herbs, seasonings. If you're at the coast, very often fish. Depends where you are regionally, right? Because these things at Piazza aren't imported, exported. They're just from around. So depending on where you are, that's what's going to dictate the things on offer. But it's well worth going that way. It's the best quality by far, and it's much more affordable than the supermarket. So why would you not? So at the end of the day, I could be more picky, probably. I could maybe find a few small inconveniences, but even if I tried, the benefits would strongly outweigh them. Just like anywhere, every place has its downsides and benefits, and for me personally, Croatia absolutely smashes it in terms of the benefits outweighing the downsides. And so they say it's beautiful. It is beautiful, and it's worth for you to at least visit for a short time, and potentially, who knows, you might want to stay a bit longer, and who knows, again, you might actually set up shop here for the long run.